Today on r/Entitled Parents, 3 wild stories. Dad steals a college fund, a Metro mom gets owned, and hot tub chaos with the worst excuse. Let's dive in.
Dad wants me to interrupt my studies to support stepbrother. My name is Michael. I was born and raised in Missouri. Going to keep it short. Mom died when I was 13. Dad remarried. We moved in with my stepmom, Linda, and my stepbrother, Lucas, same age as me. Then everything went to crap. My father started overcompensating and became super dad to Lucas, which meant I had to be left in the dust. Over the years, it became clear that Lucas was the priority, could do no wrong, and was generally the golden boy who deserved everything. I won't go into the details because I'm sure you've heard it all before. Lucas was never openly hostile towards me, but definitely enjoyed his preferential treatment. At some point, I decided it wasn't worth trying and just focused on finishing high school. I had plans that would ensure I wouldn't have to deal with my folks after graduation, and just hoped things didn't get any worse. The final blow came shortly before graduation. Again, the short version. There was a college fund for me, which my dad and mom had set up before she passed. Lucas didn't have one. Guess what? Lucas got the fund instead, with my dad explaining over 40 minutes how he justified it. I wasn't really listening, but it was something about Lucas needing all our support and how they would assist me in other ways. In the end, this assistance meant that I would be allowed to stay in the family house until I figure things out. That actually worked in my favor because I had already figured things out, but needed time to put stuff into action. What my dad seemed to have forgotten was that my mom had been an immigrant from Switzerland. Since Switzerland operated under citizenship by descent, I had inherited Swiss nationality at birth. I also spoke decent German, my mom having insisted on speaking it to me exclusively before she passed. I had started researching Switzerland and its universities when I turned 16. It was perfect. Tuition fees were a fraction of what the US charged. As a citizen, there would be no restrictions on work. The whole process took around half a year, getting my passport, applying to my university of choice, and saving up money for the first month there. It was fairly straightforward, but exhausting. After about 6 months, I simply walked out of my dad's house and left the key on the counter. I told them I would be leaving a week before that, which was acknowledged with a grunt and a shrug from Dad. I assumed we were thus done and parting somewhat amicably. I got my ass over to Switzerland and started my studies. My family never contacted me. The first 2 semesters were rough, and I didn't have time to socialize, be it in real life or online. But after that, things got bearable. Accordingly, I got back in contact with my buddies back home and started posting on social media again. Posts about my life, my studies, and random stuff. Big mistake. It took my folks merely 2 days to reconnect. I will have to abbreviate. Dad and Linda were extremely upset that I hadn't informed them about my plans, insisting that Lucas could have profited from this opportunity as well. I wasn't sure what they meant by that, but whatever. They inquired why I had kept this from them, why I just disappeared, why I didn't feel bad about it, and similar stuff. At some point, I got fed up. I told them that it is how it is. They had their lives, I had mine, and that's that. They didn't like it and decided to double down hard. First, they tried to get Lucas Swiss citizenship as well. It didn't work because citizenship is only passed down to direct descendants. Then they tried to get Lucas to transfer to my university. That didn't work either because he didn't speak a lick of German. It was weird. These people never considered the world outside of our state to even exist and were now suddenly hyper-focused on a foreign country they knew nothing about. Meanwhile, my friends back home informed me why Dad and Linda were acting out. Lucas had apparently started living large, private apartment, car, partying, etc., and thus depleted the college fund, which would have easily lasted for the entire degree in record time. Now he was hanging on by the skin of his teeth. They thought the route I had taken would somehow solve their issues. It didn't. The whole situation blew up completely when they convinced me to participate in a video call. I agreed. Me, Dad, and Linda were there. They started off laying out their various imaginary grievances again, talking about how Lucas deserved to profit from my opportunities as well. I swear they used the word opportunity at least a gazillion times. I got frustrated and finally lashed out, telling them that it wasn't within my power to dish out freaking opportunities. Then they dropped the final crazy bomb. They informed me that in order to support Lucas, we all had to make sacrifices. Thus, they expected me to interrupt my studies, return home, and start contributing to the family. Dad even said he would pay for my flight back. What a generous man. I almost got a brain aneurysm, but told them somewhat calmly that I was more than happy to oblige right after hell freezes over. This resulted in them losing their cool. Dad started shouting, Linda started sobbing, and me? I ended the call. I decided not to block them, but refused to take any calls. Now voicemails, texts, and emails are piling up, ranging from anger to guilt-tripping to gaslighting. I am still here, still studying. Anyway, that's my entitled parents story.
Wow. I honestly felt bad for OP here. That college fund wasn't just money. It was something his mom set up before she passed, meant to give him a future. And then his dad just hands it over to the golden boy like it's no big deal? Jeez, man. I'm sorry you had to go through that. Your dad didn't just fail you. He failed to honor your mom's wishes, too. Big time. And what really blows my mind is how he still felt entitled to help the stepkid by demanding OP sacrifice his own education. Like, he already stole your college fund, and now he wants you to quit school on top of it? I can't. I don't even know how to wrap my head around that level of messed up thinking. And look, I get that stepkids become family too, but this wasn't about fairness. This was about putting the stepkid above his other son. If he really saw them as equals, he wouldn't have treated one like royalty and the other like disposable backup. That's not parenting. That's favoritism on steroids. The fact that OP had to pack up his whole life and move across the ocean just to get away from that mess? That says everything. Honestly, I'm glad OP's thriving in Switzerland, because sometimes the best revenge is living your life well, far, far away from the people who didn't value you. All right, next up, we've got a metro showdown where an entitled mom picks the wrong kid to challenge. And let's just say, she wasn't ready for the mic drop moment she got.
I witnessed entitled mom getting destroyed. I saw this today and I can't stop laughing. I was traveling in my city metro. It wasn't that crowded at that time, but all the seats were occupied. Still, you could freely stand without being humped by a stranger. There was this kid sitting in the reserved seats, the ones for people with handicaps, pregnant women, and old people. Definitely not for moms of 2-year-olds. He was probably 14 or 15, I don't know. He is the hero of the story here. Then, at one stop, our entitled mom comes in. She has this cute little child who is trying to keep up with his mom's pace. She instantly sees our hero sitting at the reserved seat and just stares at him. I guess this was her way to make people automatically give away their seats or something. The kid didn't move, though. This probably irked her a lot, I guess, because she moved towards the kid with heavy steps. She comes near him, stops, and again does the stare. The kid doesn't budge. Then she starts screaming. If she didn't have the whole compartment's attention earlier, she had it now. She starts berating the kid for sitting in a reserved seat and not giving it to someone more deserving, like a mother with a young kid. I don't know what her logic was. The seats aren't reserved for them anyway. She just keeps shouting and screaming and tries to get others' opinions on it, and for a while, people were on her side. Then the kid, out of nowhere, rolls the right side of his jeans up, detaches the artificial leg, and keeps it in front of her. The look on her face was priceless. It looked like she was mortified and embarrassed at the same time. She just backed away silently and got off at the next stop. I don't think that was her stop.
Oh, this was beautiful. I love it when karma doesn't waste a second. That entitled mom came in hot. acting like the whole world exists to cater to her every little want. And then boom, instant reality check. The kid didn't just win. He shut her down without saying a single word. Just pop, leg off, argument over. You can't buy a moment that perfect. Don't get me wrong, I can empathize with a mom wrangling a toddler. That's no easy job. But being dramatic and rude just to get your way? Not okay, no matter the situation. Some people really think their circumstances make them more important than everyone else. Nope. The rules don't bend just because you've decided you're the main character. And speaking of rules, wait till you hear about the mom who thought he's autistic was a free pass for her kid to turn a hot tub into his personal splash zone. Yeah, that didn't go over well.
He's autistic is not a valid excuse to let your kid disrupt everyone else. Autism acceptance is important, but there are boundaries. I was in a hot tub recently, just trying to relax, when a woman let her autistic son jump in and treat it like a kiddie pool, splashing, yelling, jumping around, completely ignoring that a hot tub is meant for calm, not chaos. A few of us politely mentioned that it wasn't appropriate, and her only response was, "He's autistic." Then she pointed to the main pool and told us to go there if we didn't like it. As someone who's also autistic, I find this kind of enabling incredibly frustrating. Autism doesn't mean you get a pass to take over shared spaces or disregard others completely. Inclusion and acceptance don't mean no rules. We should be teaching autistic kids how to navigate the world with support and boundaries, not encouraging the idea that everyone else has to adjust while they do whatever they want. This kind of behavior doesn't promote understanding. It creates resentment and makes things harder for the rest of us who are doing our best to be mindful of others.
When someone uses a diagnosis like it's a get out of basic manners free card, I can totally see how the mom thought she was defending her kid, but turning a hot tub into a splash zone and then telling everyone else to move? Yeah, that's not defending. That's just being inconsiderate. And I say this as someone who agrees with OP. Autism isn't a free pass to ignore every rule in the book. It's about teaching boundaries and making space for everyone, not turning public spaces into me-only zones. Honestly, that attitude doesn't help the kid. It just builds resentment in the people around them. Have you ever seen someone use an excuse like that to dodge basic manners? Drop your story in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed hanging out with me today. That's a wrap on today's r/Entitled Parents drama, because apparently raising kids comes with a side of delusion. If that had you cringing or cackling, give this video a big ol' thumbs up. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I know you've got something to say about these wild families. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's your chance. Smash that button, ring the bell, and I'll see you in the next one, where the entitlement only gets louder. Bye!